We have our security advisor, our expert on the world of security around the world, and we are going to go ahead and jump right in. Sergeant Major, are you there, and how are you doing?
Hey, good morning.
Good
Drive
morning.
safe day. Buckle up, Bob.
Hey,
Hi, good morning, Sergeant.
hey, really, what's been going on lately? We had the big UN Council, and the president spoke, and we've had a lot happening in the U.S. in targeting some of the information that they put out during the UN meeting, and I think a big part of the focus was our relationship with China and are the concerns that the world has with our relationship with China. Can you speak to that?
Absolutely. The biggest concern that people see is that there's no communication, I feel. And from the outside looking in. As an intelligence officer, we saw the same thing. Very dysfunctional relationship between the United States and China, unfortunately. It should be better. The two most powerful nations in the world. And one is probably more ambitious than the other. I mean, we can argue this forever. But until we cannot sit down and on the table and talk, speak, across the board, we won't be able to get anywhere. Fortunately, there's no trust. There's a lack of trust between the United States and China, the governments. Chinese governments, but particularly, are attacking us, cyber attacking us every single day, stealing our products, our ideas, or whatever, and making it their own. They've been doing this for years, and until they don't stop doing that and they don't have a real reason to sit down and talk with us, we can't trust them, and nothing's going to happen. It's not going to move forward, fortunately.
And as we look, and historically speaking, when we talk about Cold War, our firsthand experience of that in the United States is our relationship with Russia immediately following World War II, and how that Cold War that evolved, where we didn't actually openly have conflict, but our allies, it seems like everybody aligned to one side or the other, and the problems that it creates, you could sit here and go on, and you could sit here and say that indirectly or directly you had major conflicts around the world that weren't actually between the two, but were like, let's say Vietnam, let's say Korea, let's say, over in Asia. We can say all of these things, but they're worried that these same things may happen, correct?
Right. Yeah. China has been instigating a lot of the issues around the world for many years. Cold War, can it be with China? It's an interesting theory, an interesting take on the whole relationship, how it was. How it is today is we have a lot of trade agreements. We have a lot of agreements outside of trade as well. So, for both of our countries' economies to thrive, we need to continue these relationships. So that's the only good thing that's coming out of it, and perhaps that will keep us from going into some type of Cold War. Although the Chinese spy organizations are now stepping out of their comfort zone and now going outside the country into different parts of the world where we are and our allies to try to recruit individuals for information. This has been going on for some time. That's not something that they're used to. It's not something that they do like we do. So if that continues, it'll be interesting how that will pan out.
And as we talk about it, and I'll know that your area of expertise is Central and South America, but are we seeing a big uptick in, I've always have growing up, having lived in Europe and whatever, the KGB or now the FSB, those are always big, those are always big call out numbers, so we know who they are. But have we seen a large uptick in that region that you work so well in? Have you seen a large rise in the number of, I would say, intelligence officers working from the Chinese environment?
For sure. They've been positioning themselves around the world for years and years. Now they're and one of the things they do is they become very good friends with countries that share the same methodology, the same ideology. Perhaps not so much in the same, like a communist country like Venezuela and Cuba, right? They're positioning themselves there, but also countries that share the same ideology like Argentina, depending upon who's there. Like Kirchner's there. Before, when Macri was there, it wasn't so much, but before that was Kirchner again. And they've been, putting spy satellites in certain different countries in Latin America, particularly in South America. They say, obviously, that it's for their own purposes, for their space operations and whatnot. But we understand that it's for other nefarious purposes as well, and they're doing that all over. But Latin America serves as a best platform because they're closer to the United States. They're in this hemisphere, and they have a lot of. They've been instigating this type of behavior for so many years, and also the countries, the different countries in Latin America, how they've been forming their governments into a communist country, so then they can step in and do their own spy mechanisms in place. It's been going on for some time.
I hear you, but let's be honest, they're throwing big money around, right? In these countries that we're talking about, they're actually stepping in and they're tossing big cash around and to help out these, I would say, political systems that align closer to them is what you speak, but not necessarily that. They are getting on the other side of the fence of the Democratic side of, or the more what our economic system and our political system would be. But they're actually going in and recruiting they're dumping large amounts of capital and cash into these environments as well, right?
That's correct. And other countries can't compete with that because, China makes it so much more reachable. They throw a lot of money and, they're always going to go with China because China has the most, the best program for them. It is unfortunate. It's happening all over the place. Dominican Republic, unfortunately. Brazil, they're going back into Brazil. And, the United States or other countries, Western countries can't compete with it.
And before we go, I think we got a question here, but I just want to ask, are we still utilizing like the old concepts of the Monroe Doctrine in this environment in Central and South America to put our will against out in foreign powers? Do we still ever bring up the Monroe Doctrine at all in regards to this hemisphere?
That's a good question, but the easy answer is no. The easy answer is that they're not. It's not something that they're looking at. It's not something that they want to follow because the Monroe Doctrine is strict and it will not allow them to do more than two things that they want to do.
I understand. Hey, we got a question for you, Sergeant Major. Who do we got over there, sir?
Yeah, Brian Winsauer, what do you got for us, sir?
Good morning, Sergeant Major. Quick question. I believe it was CBS Sunday Morning. I believe it was CBS Sunday Morning recently did a story about a drastic transition in Cartagena about 10, 15 years ago. It was, if not one of the most dangerous places on planet Earth. And now within 10, 15 years, they've changed it to a super safe tourist mecca. If that's true, how were they able to make such a drastic change in such a short period of time?
Short answer to that is the United States. The United States has been in Colombia for such a long time, putting in a lot. They've put a lot of time and effort and investment into the Colombian government, the country of Colombia as a whole, to try to fight, not only the drug problem but also the guerrilla problem, right? The FARC. Cartagena is now, as you said, some people call it what is it? It's just an area in this hemisphere that people want to go to, people want to travel to, and it's become a resort style place, kind of like, if you will, Dominican Republic or the south of France, but much cheaper. The rest of the country is some more volatile countries towards a part of the country, like towards Venezuela, where the FARC still exists, but it's a small entity. And so the United States has had its hand in that whole process and how to get rid of the biggest issues in Colombia. And thanks to that, Cartagena today is a mecca, as you say.
As an intelligence officer, you go out and for business and or for government or whatever it is that you do. How important is it that you might? I guess my favorite part is how important it is that y'all look forward to the upcoming problems that are growing in here. Like, we see the UN and we talk about this in the news around the world, but I got a feeling y'all are well ahead of these news break stories.
Right. Thanks to our analysts who are constantly looking at the issues around the world, putting it together, and we work hand in hand with them to try to get a bigger picture. Right when we get our requirements and we go out to get those requirements, it's a happy moment for us that we have a bigger picture, that we have a bigger picture of the problem and how we going to go out to get answers to those requirements. It's a beautiful moment, but at the same time, we understand that it's not a beautiful moment for the United States if we don't, because it's all about the national security. It's all about you all, our families, and if we don't do our job in an equitable manner, then it's not going to work out.
Thank you. Hey, we're gonna have one more caller before we get out of here. Who do you got over there? Producer?
Yeah, we got Alan Arnold here. What do you got for us, sir?
Yes, good morning, sir.
Morning.
I want to know how it's going to affect with Saudi Arabia and Nigeria and those OPEC countries making deals with Russia right now and with China on the oil, since they're trying to get out of the dollar.
Yeah, our relationship with those countries will always thrive, whether they have distinct entities working with Russia or China. That's beyond the point. I think the main thing is that we will maintain our relationship with Saudi Arabia, Nigeria, and other OPEC countries, so that because it's very strong. It's just they fear us more than they fear them, but they also understand that in order for their economy to thrive, they need to do business elsewhere as well. But they understand also that the business that they do is strict, is specific, and perhaps the United States may not allow I shouldn't say allow, because it's not their place to do so, but they may not agree to for them to do other businesses that they're already doing with the United States, and it may interfere.
Well, Jorge, man, I appreciate you coming on. As always, you're a continuing guest here, and we appreciate not only your expertise, but your candor. And we look forward to the next time you come on. I appreciate you jumping in. Thank you so much for the knowledge and the experience. And thank you for being here on the safest station in the nation. And I appreciate it.
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you so much for having me, guys.
All right. Thank you, Sergeant Major.